It is Wednesday night, February 2nd, 2022. Groundhog's Day, Paul.
It is, and definitely not a Groundhog Day type of day at AEW, that's for sure.
No, AEW was coming to us live tonight from Chicago, Illinois, who's in the midst of a big snowstorm like the pretty much the whole Midwest at this point. I think that had an impact on the crowd tonight. We will get into that here in a little bit. But interesting show tonight, capped off by a 47-minute main event that saw MJF hand CM Punk his first loss in AEW.
Which you said his first loss was going to come to MJF, so.
Yeah, I've been predicting that for a couple months. So,
I called Chicago, you called MJF winning, so.
So half and half there. We'll go half and half. But yeah, it was interesting show. Back-to-back weeks, the previous 2 weeks, really solid shows. Tonight, I got to admit, a little drop-off for me.
Yeah, a little bit. Not as entertaining. I know our opening match got changed a little bit, which we'll talk about coming up here in just a few minutes, but definitely not as solid as the show as I was expecting.
No, I thought, yeah, I was expecting more tonight. I don't know if it was the fact that the WWE November releases contracts were officially up today and they were able to go to different promotions, or I don't know. I just expected something bigger to happen tonight than it really did. But in any sense, we did get a big story advancement. So let's get right into it, shall we? And you kind of hinted at it. The opening match was supposed to be Jon Moxley versus Brian Kendrick, who just got released by the WWE earlier this week, I believe. So that all kind of happened really fast. I mean, he wasn't officially all elite, but Tony Khan, they put out the graphic yesterday. He was supposed to be in a match against Moxley to open up the show. Unfortunately, today, some video and audio surfaced from an interview he did years ago. He said, and I'm not going to get into it, he said a lot of different things, a lot of opinions that are and viewpoints that are just not good and pretty much off the wall. And once AEW and Tony Khan got wind of it, they announced this afternoon that they weren't going to stand by that, and he was not going to be on the card tonight, and they were finding a replacement ASAP. That replacement ended up being Wheeler Yuta.
Of all people.
Yes, of all people. The show starts tonight, of course, with JR welcoming everybody to Chicago, Illinois. And then he welcomes Tony Schiavone and Excalibur. After, of course, he said it's Wednesday night. You know what that means. Moxley's music hits. He's out first. I feel like Moxley's becoming the new starter of AEW.
I think he is. We had that in Hangman for a while, and now I think we're getting that in Moxley. Hopefully that means good things for Moxley in the future like it did for Hangman. But, I'm interested to see what happens.
So he comes out, then Yuta comes out. Or Yuta was already in the ring, wasn't he?
Yeah, no,
he
Moxley came out first.
Okay, he did come out second. Okay, I must have missed that entrance, but
because it was the official Best Friends, not the new Orange Cassidy,
not the Pixies music. Okay,
so I always get excited when the Best Friends music hits.
I will have to admit, for about the first half of Dynamite, I was going back and forth between the Purdue basketball game and Dynamite, so my attention wasn't fully on Dynamite. So you might have to carry us a little bit for the first half.
I'll provide what I can.
But we saw Moxley get control of the match early on, got in the face of Orange Cassidy, but he turned around and Danhausen was there to surprise and put a curse on Jon Moxley. Then that helped Wheeler Yuta fly down from the turnbuckle. The action went back inside the ring. Moxley went for the paradigm shift, but Yuta got out of it. Yuta attempted a roll-up pin, but Jon Moxley kicked out. Moxley began hitting Wheeler Yuta with massive elbows, put Yuta in a sleeper hold. Moxley let him go. Then he hit Yuta with a paradigm shift, and that was the 1, 2, 3. What'd you think about Danhausen's appearance with Best Friends for 2 weeks straight?
He's a perfect fit, but I'm tired of the best friends growing. I want it to be back to when it was just the four of them, um, Trent, Chuck, Orange, and Statlander.
Hmm. Yeah, they
Or
keep
just
adding.
Trent and Chuck for that matter. I mean,
They keep adding more. I mean, I'm all for Danhausen being all elite. I mean, I'm a big fan of his. I mean, his T-shirt, brand new T-shirt's the number one seller right now on
oh, well, of course it is.
shopaw.com, which
Of
you saw
course.
that coming. I mean, he was the top selling T-shirt on Pro Wrestling Tees outside of um, AEW Talent, I believe, last year. If not, he was in the top five.
Yeah.
And he's very comedic. He's hilarious. Um, but I'm not the biggest best friends fan. I don't know. I just never really have been. And so seeing him in this group, I'm like, but you're right, he does, I guess fit in with the stick a little bit. So the comedic
Maybe
side.
maybe we see him and Orange Cassidy break off and
It could.
form their own tag team.
It could. Because I mean, for a long time now in the vlogs, he's always talked about how him and Orange are good friends. So we will see. But after the match is where the interesting stuff really happened, at least in my
Mhm.
opinion. Moxley's
Yes.
still in the ring. He turns around. Brian Danielson's in the ring. Danielson asks the crowd if they should fight one on one. Crowd's going nuts. I kind of hint. I since this was the direction he was going to go in the promo. Danielson said we should not be fighting. We should be teaming. There's no reason we should have a millennial cowboy be the AEW champion. There's no reason why a dinosaur should be a tag team champion. That made me laugh. And there's no reason why a guy who creates vlogs should be the TNT champion. That fired Sami Guevara up. He wants a piece of Brian Danielson. He tweeted out tonight. Um, Danielson then says they could change the industry and train others, the up and comers. Like he brings up Daniel Garcia, brings up Wheeler Yuta, brings up Lee Moriarty. Danielson tells Moxley to think about it, sticks his hand out and tells Mox to think about it. Yeah. He exits the ring and walks up the ramp while Moxley stays in the ring. What were your thoughts on this promo?
One word. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
I've wanted these two. I wanted these two in WWE to be a tag team. I think they would do great together. And I mean, if Moxley's doing the whole wild thing now, which at least based off the theme, I mean, you got a whole new name in Wild Dragon. Boom, there you go. There's your tag name.
Where does that put Eddie when he comes back?
With them. Start a faction.
Yeah. I like the idea, though, of Danielson and Moxley starting a faction with a bunch of young talent.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I don't think it's going to happen. I think Moxley will turn him down. I think we'll get a one-on-one match between the two at Revolution, but that's just my guess.
You're probably right, but I'm going to be hopeful on this one.
It would be the second time that Moxley's turned down an offer to join a group in AEW.
And again, you were kind of watching Purdue
Mm-hmm.
play basketball at this point. Don't know if you caught very Shield-like attire from Moxley tonight.
Yeah, I did not catch that. I wonder if that was in homage to Seth Rollins bringing back the Shield gear at the Rumble over the weekend.
That was my thought because he had the boots and the black pants on. And I mean, I know he's been doing the darker pants here lately, but they were a little bit on the baggier side. And he had the black boots on. Maybe it's just his new attire and I just caught it.
Yeah, he did. He looked different tonight. I think he's looking more in shape again. Not that he wasn't in shape a couple weeks ago, but he looked a lot skinnier than he had, and now looked like he's put on a little bit again.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But
I'm interested to see if maybe it was a one-off or somebody else caught it, or if I'm just
looking too much into it.
Yeah.
It'll be interesting to see where this goes. I think this is definitely storyline. I mean, we've seen Daniel Bryan and Dean Ambrose, but not John Moxley and Bryan Danielson against each other. So,
right.
We then got a recap showcasing the feud between MJF and CM Punk. All AEW always does a good job with those. We returned from commercial break, and Brandy Rhodes is in the ring. I'm like, okay. Brandy says everyone is so nice in Cleveland or Chicago, wherever they are. talking about Midwest, yada, yada, yada. Dan Lambert, Scorpio Sky, and Ethan Page come out, and Lambert begins insulting Brandy Rhodes. Brandy Rhodes says, I don't know why you are laughing, Ethan. The only reason why we hired you was to get to Josh Alexander, talking about his former tag team, tag partner in Impact Wrestling. Brandy continued with the insults. Lambert returns with more insults himself. Brandy ends up slapping Lambert. Lambert says he figured she'd be in a feisty mood and wanted to fight, so he has something for her. And that's when we see the former UFC fighter Paige Van Zant, member of America Top Team, come out to the ring, and she attacks Brandy, and the AEW women's locker room empties, and the wrestlers come out to break up the fight. I gotta be honest, the crowd wasn't into this. They were chanting "Shut the f up" at Brandy. Here's my two takeaways from this, Paul. You know, Brandy's great at what she does for AEW and in the office and everything. She's even fine in dark matches, everything in the ring. I don't want to hear her on the microphone. I'm sorry.
No,
We've been
no,
there,
not
done
at
that.
all.
I'm just kind of over it. And Dan Lambert, I'm tired of the cheap insults just to get cheap heat.
Exactly. The only way I am okay with this Brandy Dan thing continuing, not if Cody gets involved, if somehow Brandy convinces Jade Cargill to join her, at least for one match, and we get Jade versus Paige.
I'm afraid we're gonna get Paige versus Brandy.
Well, yeah, I know, but
I mean, it's
Jade would make more sense.
and Paige Van Zant's pretty good. I mean, she getting her more TV time, I'm all for that. That's fine. I don't know. And the fact Lambert brings up the heel and baby face, I don't like when they do that.
No.
I've always find it really cringeworthy.
Mm-hmm. Like Cody saying, you want to know why I don't kneel. That's one thing. But for Dan to bring it up, it's just like, dude, shut up.
Is this going to be the Rhodes brothers against Scorpio and Paige? That's where this is going.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Yep.
I don't know. Because
there's no TNT title anymore. The feud that started with the TNT title, it's not there. So what are they going to do now? They're going to do the Rhodes versus Sky and Paige.
And Scorpio never got a shot at the TNT title, did he?
Nope.
He was up there in the rankings for a while, and
he was supposed to take on Cody, and then Cody got COVID.
Well, that was that's when Cody got COVID before the Sami match. He was supposed to take on Sami at the Clash of Champions, or the whatever they call it, not Clash of Champions, but
the Battle of the Champions or whatever. I don't
Battle
know.
of the Belts.
There we go.
Yeah, jeez. And we run an AEW podcast.
Ouch! Shots fired.
Yeah, about both of us. But yeah. Anyways, I thought Scorpio then would take on the winner of that match, and it never really happened. They reversed gears, so I don't know.
Part of me thinks that's where they were going to go because they set this up that it was going to be Scorpio versus Cody. There was talk of TNT Gold.
Yeah.
And then Cody got COVID, and they just swerved it.
Yeah, it's I don't know. To sum up this segment, I thought it was painful. I was like, oh, this isn't good. I could care less.
Is Scorpio becoming another Lance Archer?
Kind of feel like it. I felt that way for a while, even though he was part of the first tag team champions ever. But
what's he done since?
Yeah, he won the Revolution ladder match last year, but then he loses his shot at the title the very next week.
In like under 10 minutes.
Yeah, so. Yep. After that, we see the Hardy family office having a backstage promo and tells Private Party that he's upset with them for not winning the AEW Tag Team titles on Rampage. Andrade El Idolo appears and asks Hardy what happened last week. Hardy asks why Darby Allin has not signed, and Andrade says he is working on it. For anybody who might have missed that on Rampage Friday, Andrade and his sidekick went in and asked Darby to speak with his boss. Darby pretty much laughed him off and said, "You really think Sting's my boss?" And then Darby put out a bat, kind of. And Andrade said, "Hey, don't go crazy. Slow down. And I need to speak with your boss," and left. So I guess we're gonna get Darby and Sting into this Hardy office family office feud.
That's all I have for that. Just my head down shaking. It is. I've told you I'm against it. I'm against it. I'm against it. But come on, Jeff, sign with AEW.
I'm sure he will once he can, but we are going to get Sami Guevara defending the TNT Championship against Isaiah Cassidy Friday on Rampage, and I could really care less.
Sammy's gonna win.
Yep. We then get Malachi Black and Brody King versus Pac and Penta L0M. I was looking forward to this match. Pac came out with an eye patch on. He tended to wrestle with it, but instead, Pac began the match with Malachi Black. Pac gained control right away and shows that the eye patch was just a ruse to get to Malachi. After the first picture-in-picture commercial break, Brody King took control of the match. We returned from that with Pac still getting beaten up. Pac managed to get away and tag in Penta for the hot tag. Penta cleared the ring and hit Malachi with a shotgun drop kick. Pac and Malachi were then the legal men. Malachi hit Pac with a raising knee strike. Then he hit Pac with 2 sliding knee strikes. Pac recovered and hit Malachi with a German suplex. Pac then hit Malachi with a brainbuster. Penta hit Brody King with a dive, and then he hit another for good measure. Pac was about to go for the fear factor, but he got pushed off the top rope. Malachi then sprayed the black mist into the eyes of Penta. The referee didn't see it, which allowed Brody King to hit Penta with Dante's Inferno to get the victory.
Yeah. It was a pretty solid tag match.
More missed.
Yeah.
I just think it's a almost a finishing, I won't say maneuver or move, but it's just part of his moveset anymore. I mean, maybe eventually they're gonna pay this all off. But I don't know.
I'm gonna butcher the guy's name because I'm drawing a blank on it. Tajiri.
Yeah, Tajiri.
Mm-hmm. Tajiri. There we go. Green Mist. That's exactly what this reminds me of now. It started out as this powerful, once you were hit with it, you were done thing, and then it's going to taper off to be just another move.
I will say I enjoy watching Pac and Malachi do kicks, especially Malachi. Oh, yeah. He gets his in. His technique is unbelievable on those kicks. But,
absolutely.
But yeah, I mean, I thought the House of Black or Kings of the Black Throne, I think they call themselves.
The House of Black.
I figured they would get the win, as they should, being a powerful heel tandem there. But, yeah, I'm still waiting for that third member.
Yeah, Julia's coming eventually, I hope. Hey, I'm stuck on Julia. I don't know why, but...
I think it's too obvious.
You think so?
Yeah. I don't know. I feel like the longer they let it go, the more that's going to lose its steam. But.
Well, it kind of already has in a sense, because they haven't done anything with her.
No,
they teased it, and then Brody showed up.
And saw her lose to Jade Cargill for the TBS Championship on Friday Night's Rampage. So.
See, I think if anything, which she put on a great match. Almost won it at a couple different times.
Yeah.
Could have won it. I think at some point the light should have just flashed, if nothing else. Just a little tease.
Right.
Just to keep it fresh, because
we got a lot of
did it and then nothing.
We got a lot of teases up to when Brody King debuted, so. And even the night Malachi debuted, we got a tease. So you're right. That would have been
absolutely.
Good. We then see the Cutler cam. Adam Cole cuts a promo and says he's tired of hearing about Orange Cassidy and he wants more respect. He does mention how he is still undefeated in singles action in AEW. Cole says he'll be wrestling Evil Uno this week on Rampage. So Rampage is kind of the Adam Cole show.
For right now, it is, at least.
Yeah. That'll be a good one, though.
It's the Hook and Adam Cole show.
Yeah.
There we go.
2 fan favorites. We then get the women's match of the night, Ruby Soho versus Nyla Rose alongside her manager, Vicky Guerrero. Before the match begins, the announcer shows the lead singer of the band Rancid, who sings Ruby Soho's theme song.
Ruby Soho.
Yeah, the song Ruby Soho for Ruby Soho. we then got Ruby got walloped pretty much by a Nyla Rose headbutt. Then Nyla hit Ruby with a Death Valley driver. Nyla went for the pin, but Ruby kicked out. Um, Ruby's getting back into the match by escaping Nyla's powerbomb. Ruby lifted Nyla and slammed her down into the ring canvas. The action went outside the ring. Ruby got into the face of Vicky Guerrero. Um, Ruby takes out Nyla Rose with the future shock. She goes for the pin. However, Vicky Guerrero pulls Nyla Rose under the ropes. Nyla then hits Ruby with a senton and then hits the Beast Bomb on Ruby for the 1, 2, 3. Were you surprised by this result?
No.
I mean, neither.
I mean, I hate to say it, but no. Sadly, they need to do something with Ruby Soho. She's starting to remind me a lot of Ruby Riott.
Well, at least they're protecting her in which she never loses clean.
Right. She is not lost clean yet, but she always loses. That's the problem.
Yeah.
She gets a bunch of wins and then she gets on TV and loses.
Yeah. I mean, she lost to Jade Cargill because of Mercedes Martinez. I think that was yeah, Mercedes got involved, but so Thunder Rosa got involved in that match too.
Mm-hmm.
If I remember correctly, that was the TBS Championship match. She lost to Britt, of course, at Grand Slam, but Britt had interference from Rebel and Jamie Hayter, so a lot of interference losses there for her.
Yeah. Unless they're going to build something with her and let her just keep getting these interference losses, and then she's going to debut somebody by her side or something. That's the only way this goes forward. I mean, it clearly won't be Sarah Logan since she returned to WWE over the weekend.
I think it was a one-off for the Rumble because WWE brought back half their women's field were nostalgia acts, and for the men, they didn't do any. So,
because nobody wanted it.
Because
they released them all.
The owner released his own son today, so I mean, my God.
Which he did during the Monday Night Wars, so that's why I said he's not allowed to show up in AEW.
Well, no, yeah, I don't know. It sounds like there's a lot going on over there. I don't. No idea. We then see a backstage promo featuring the Gun Club, or the Ass Boys, as Danhausen calls them. They start beating up Jungle Boy, and they go outside to continue the fight. They throw him into a pile of snow and run off as Christian Cage and Luchasaurus appear. So it definitely looks like we're going to get a program between these two for the tag team titles probably soon.
Where did Christian come from?
I don't know. Somewhere in the building.
I mean, he just appeared in the middle of the street chasing these guys.
You heard him in the background yelling at them.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, I hear him yelling and then just...
Yeah.
Yep. Leave it to Christian.
Still waiting for the day when Christian cost them their tag team titles. It's got to happen. Sticking to it. We then see Tony Schiavone in the ring to interview AEW World Champion Hangman Adam Page, which feels like it's been a while since we've seen him on TV, even though it's only been like a week or two. Tony begins promoting next week's Texas Death match against Lance Archer. First, Adam talks about how he is ready to fight. He knows Lance wants a Texas Death match, but he doesn't really care. Then we get Dan Lambert and Jake the Snake Roberts coming out, and they start insulting Page. Finally, Lance Archer appears, and he and Page end up fighting. Archer gets the best of Page after taking 2 chair shots and throwing Page through a table.
Yeah, is Dark Order going to join Hangman out at the ring to, help against these two?
Where's Dark Order been on TV?
Based off of BTE, my guess is Colt's injured, so he's off. Yeah. And then the storyline with Daniel Bryan and
Bryan Danielson.
Yeah, that guy. Where he injured 90% of the team. Yeah. I think that's why they're not there. But Stu didn't get injured. Stu could come out. Anna Jay can come out and just stand there and stare at everybody. Yeah.
And we've seen Reynolds and Silver on Rampage since they challenged Jurassic Express for a tag team titles. So I don't know. I feel like the group's kind of lost.
Sadly.
Not lost their popularity, but they're just not really a Dynamite act right now.
They're a Rampage act.
Yeah. and Dark and Elevation.
Yeah. They're
So,
the second, third, and fourth show acts.
yep, yep. I think you're right. I mean, one of these days, 10 will have to branch off on his own, see what he can do, because I think he's got the most potential of the group.
Five's close.
And what
Five's
did we do to deserve getting Dan Lambert twice tonight? I'm all for Jake the
Um,
Snake being on my TV. I love his
right.
promos, but Lambert, once again with the cheap heat, saying that the Blackhawks, and
Blah,
then
blah,
talking
blah,
about
blah, blah.
Cleveland going into cancel culture and getting rid of the Indians.
Yeah.
I mean, just
Mm-hmm.
trying for a cheap pop there.
We didn't do that on purpose. We were forced, okay?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
The Indians are still alive. Oh, sorry.
We
Soapbox.
then got Chris Jericho calling out Santana and Ortiz for disrespecting and embarrassing him last week by not tagging him in their match, in their 6-man tag match against Daniel Garcia in 2.0. Jericho demands a mandatory meeting next week on Dynamite for the Inner Circle.
I think you're finally right. I think the Inner Circle is finally done.
We'll finally get Hager back on TV. He hasn't been on TV in a while.
Yeah, I know. Sami's been on TV almost as much as anybody.
Oh, yeah.
Him and Jericho.
Yep. So, I don't know. I just feel like it's time. I don't know.
It is. It's been a good faction, almost 2 years now. But I think
Has been
it's
2
run
years.
its course. Yeah. Okay.
The first Dynamite on TV in
So
October 2019. Yeah.
unfortunately, I think it's ran its course. I think there could have been more with Inner Circle, but there just wasn't enough opportunity. The COVID stuff got in the way. I think that kind of brought it down a little bit, but I think Inner Circle has ran its course. Let Jericho do whatever Jericho's going to do. Sami's off doing Sami's thing. Let everybody just go their own way.
Yeah, I mean, they could kind of go, and they have for a little while the Pinnacle route, which everybody kind of goes their own way. And then last week we saw the Pinnacle together for the first time in months as a whole when they're beating up CM Punk. But
Pinnacle, Pentas, all these Pinnacle style things. I was trying to think of the name that they filed for that. What's his face brought up for the new name for the Elite?
Paragon?
Yeah, there we go. Yeah, that's where I was going with that, but I couldn't think of Paragon at the time. So
for the Undisputed Era?
Yeah. The Elite.
Yeah.
2.0.
Yeah. No, besides Adam Cole, no members of the Elite on the night.
No, and Butler was on, behind the camera.
Yeah, camera time.
Mm-hmm.
We then saw a video package showing how the Jay Lethal and Ricky Starks feud began. Excalibur begins going over this week's AEW Rampage, which those two are got to be brawling for the FTW World Title. Yeah, FTW title. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
We are struggling tonight.
Snow. It's
Yes.
been a snow day. My
Yes.
brain doesn't work right.
Then we get the main event, and this started with entrances at 9:13 p.m. Eastern time. I'm like, there's no way this match is going to go the 47 minutes. There's got to be more to it. Well, prove me wrong. Prove me wrong. And this was a pretty much an instant classic match, a story of two halves, if you will. The first half of the match saw CM Punk really dominate for majority of the first half until MJF put something underneath his elbow pad. And you couldn't really tell what it was, but whatever it was, he was using it to choke out CM Punk, which that's what happened. Bryce Remsburg picks up CM Punk's arm 3 different times, and it hits the mat 3 different times. He counts him out cold, but then when he raises CM Punk's arm, out falls the tape that CM Punk was using. Remsburg then restarts the match, which this cracked me up. All of a sudden, Punk goes from being out cold to having like a superpower.
Mm-hmm. That's CM Punk. What do you expect?
Then in the majority of the second half, MJF had control of the match. So it's kind of a tale of two halves, like I was saying.
Mm-hmm.
We saw a bunch of big spots. Punk's really getting beat up. CM Punk's really working on, or MJF's really working on CM Punk's left knee. We saw Punk hit a Pepsi plunge, which JR said he hasn't used that move in 17 years. I'd never seen it.
Neither did I.
But that's when MJF rolled out of the ring after Punk hit that. Punk sold a potential knee injury. MJF goes for a tombstone pile driver. Punk reverses it, and now MJF counters it with a pin attempt. Punk hits MJF with a heel kick. Punk hit MJF with a big elbow drop from the top rope, which I didn't think he was going to hit in time because he was really taking his sweet time because of his injured knee. MJF and Punk are on the outside, and Wardlow comes down. The whole crowd's kind of, ooh, what's Wardlow going to do? What's Wardlow going to do? He gets in the face of CM Punk. Referee's watching Wardlow intensely. However, Wardlow just backs away, and nobody sees that. Wardlow passes off the diamond ring to MJF. MJF gets back into the ring. CM Punk and the referee are distracted by Wardlow getting up on the apron, allowing MJF to hit Punk with the ring and knocking him out for the 1-2-3 in the victory as MJF hands CM Punk his first loss in AEW. MJF then lays on top of Punk after the bell, and we see him celebrating his win over Punk with his legs crossed, saying he is now the best in the world as the show goes off the air.
Yeah, I missed the ring toss too, by the way. So
I think we all did. It was just a sneaky little.
It was. I need to go back and watch that so that I can make sure I know how to do that for future references. But won't get into that right now. But yeah, I knew that Punk was going to lose. Chicago was the place to have Punk lose. Didn't matter who it was. Punk's first loss needed to come in Chicago. That's what we saw tonight, and I'm okay with this. I think we'll see more. I don't think this is over between those two. Punk's going to bring up the fact that it was a dirty victory, and I think we're going to end up seeing either a lights out match or a street fight or something from these two.
At Revolution, you think?
Probably.
Since we are about a month away.
Mm-hmm.
Later this week will be a month away, because I was thinking, okay, maybe they go CM Punk Wardlow. We've already seen that match, though, with Wardlow dominating the match until CM Punk got the win thanks to MJF.
Yeah. I think Punk will challenge him next week on Dynamite. MJF will say, as MJF always does, well, if you want to beat or face me again, you've got to take on. Otherwise, you don't get me.
Yeah, it's got to be something. I mean, all along I thought their first tango was going to be at Revolution. I was surprised they did it tonight. Mm-hmm. Even up till the start tonight, I kept telling you I don't think they're going to do the match. We're going to give it some kind of swerve. But they went through with it. It's definitely advancing the storyline. I'm fine with them not turning Wardlow face just yet, letting him marinate yet a little more. He looked more heelish tonight than he has in the last couple weeks, which is interesting.
What I want to see is these two end up having a face-off at Revolution, Punk MJF, and at some point during the match, Wardlow goes to do something, because, no DQs. So Wardlow goes to do something, hits MJF by mistake. MJF's ripping into him, and Wardlow just snaps and comes unglued, beats the crap out of him, throws him in the ring, and Punk pins him.
I think we'll see Wardlow be in that ladder match at Revolution for the title shot, and he'll win it.
Yeah.
Because then it's going to become to MJF wants that title shot because it's in Wardlow's contract.
Mm-hmm.
Question is, when's Wardlow's contract end?
That's never been stated.
Mm-hmm.
Never once since he joined.
So we're getting there. I'm still saying about double or nothing time in the summer when we get the official turn. They're going to plant a few more seeds, and I think it starts at Revolution with Wardlow being in that ladder match and winning it.
Okay. I'm okay with that.
I could see a superstar or a wrestler debuting in that ladder match because they like to do that.
Mm-hmm.
Last few, Ethan Page last year, Brian Cage year before.
I was trying to think who
Brian
was.
Cage's was at Double or Nothing
Yeah.
in 2020, but Ethan Page's was at Revolution, both in the ladder match, though.
Right.
So,
Yeah, we'll see.
maybe a Gargano, maybe Keith Lee. Just throwing some names out there. So,
maybe other people that we
there's
won't
a
even get into.
lot of talent out there.
There is.
I did see Ember Moon. She's going by another name now. I apologize. I don't remember off the top of my head. She's going to be facing Thunder Rosa in Warrior Wrestling later this month.
Yes, I am excited for that. I am a fan of Warrior Wrestling. I'm
Athena, maybe? Is that the name she's going by now? That's just off the top of my head. So.
Let me see. I've got Warrior on Facebook, so
yeah.
let's see. Because I'm sure it's been on the match card by now. Nope. Okay.
I saw it on Twitter.
Athena Palmer.
Athena, okay. I got it right. Athena.
Yep. So. Athena Palmer.
Yep, that's going to be a good one. So
makes her return. So she's formerly of Warrior Wrestling, which I was not aware of.
Overall grade tonight, 1 through 10.
I'm giving it a 7.
7?
The main event, the segment with Bryan Danielson. I'm way off tonight. I'm telling you, man, snow delays, cancellations, everything. It's got me all sorts of all over the place.
For everybody that doesn't know, and most of our listeners, viewers know this by now, Paul works for a radio station. So very busy day today for him with all the weather cancellations going on.
Yes, and as you can see, if you are watching, I look exhausted because I am. But, there were a lot of good things, but there were just segments, 2 Dan Lamberts, Brandy Rhodes. I couldn't get behind those. Those 2 things brought it down for me drastically.
This is probably unfair ranking for me since I really wasn't paying attention to the first 45 minutes. I'm going with 6.5.
Okay. I'm okay with that because I was almost right there. Almost.
I mean, I enjoyed the main event, but that was mostly a majority of what I saw tonight on the show. I did catch the Lambert Brandy stuff that just took it down a whole number for me, to be honest. The Moxley Danielson stuff. Moxley Danielson was good. The tag match between the House of Black and 2/3 of the Death Triangle, good, but I expected a little more.
And Penta got the spray, so they're saying, is Penta blinded now? So
yeah,
I mean, now we're down to 1 member of the Death Triangle again.
The women's match was good, but like I said, they could have taken off a few minutes of the main event and had a women's squash match on. I just want to see 2 women's matches from at least time to time out of Dynamite.
Mm-hmm. I think we're getting there. It's just going to take some time.
I know. But yeah, 6.5. I mean, definitely not as strong as the last 2 weeks, in my opinion.
Wrestler of the night.
We'll see how next week can do in Atlantic City at a very cool venue. So, and AEW Championships on the line next week in Texas Deathmatch. So, Wrestler of the night. Gotta go MJF. I mean, he ended CM Punk his first loss.
I'm right there with you.
Now he's 20-4 in AEW. I mean, I thought about Moxley, but he beat Wheeler Yuta. I thought about Wheeler Yuta because he was thrown in there last minute, and actually it wasn't a squash match.
Danhausen for his cursing.
But really, it's I think MJF's
MJF.
the easy choice tonight.
Yep, absolutely. I agree with you. I don't know how you don't pick MJF if you're picking a wrestler of the night. He came, he showed up, he showed out, he showed off.
And
somebody else's line.
MJF, he is fantastic. I mean, he is the best heel in the industry, in my opinion. He doesn't get enough credit for his in-ring work. He's a really good wrestler. He's a really good worker. He's just the real deal.
I mean, let's talk about this. 45 minutes.
Yeah.
His longest match to this point. And before that, it was like 20 minutes. So he doubled his time, and he still looked good. He sold when he needed to sell.
6 years against a veteran of 20 years. And
20 plus, yeah.
You wouldn't be able to tell by watching.
No. Commentary said it best. I think it was Shivani. He goes, I cannot stand MJF, but this is a hell of a match.
Yeah. I mean, he's much watched television when he's on. And that's why they have him wrestle few and far matches, and I'm fine with that.
Mm-hmm.
I still think he will be the world champion at some point this year.
Okay. And you might be KOP predictions champion at some point this year, but it ain't going to be at Revolution.
Well,
So.
it's hard when I don't get a chance to go for the title because you never put it on the line.
Okay. All right. You want to do that? Look, I ain't got nothing better to do right now because, unfortunately, due to some actions that I might have partaken in, I've been banned from FWF on the 12th. So let's do this. Let's see. Let me look at my calendar here. See, you're not able. All right. You know what? I'll do it. I'll put it on the line next week.
Next week.
We'll find out. We won't even be, I'll send you my predictions ahead of time with my confidence points. I know normally we announce them here on the show, but you know what? This is kind of a spur of the moment. Let's do this next week thing. So, next week. Predictions championship is on the line.
I accept, and they'll be posted on the socials. So make sure to follow Kicking Out Podcast at Kicking Out Pod on Twitter and Instagram, and like us on Facebook to see what predictions Paul's going to get wrong and Tanner's going to get it right. And hashtag and new come next week.
Look, I already stomped a mud hole in one little guy in the last week. Do I need to do two?
You just might.
All right.
All right. I'm trying to think of next week's match. Besides
there
the Texas
hasn't been
Death
anything
match.
Really announced, so that's why I'm looking forward to this.
The Texas Death match. There was one other match they announced. It was the Inner Circle thing. Maybe that was it. Maybe it was just that. Maybe there wasn't another match. Maybe I'm dreaming.
No, I think that's all we've got at this point in time.
All right.
So I think it might be Monday or Tuesday before the predictions are officially locked in, which will make it even more interesting. So,
yep,
you heard it here first. KOP predictions champion on the line next week as I retain my title.
Well, that's some big news and some other big KOP news. We have a merch store online now. Yes, you can still get our t-shirts on Pro Wrestling Tees. There are some designs on there that you can only get there on Pro Wrestling Tees. You won't be able to get it on our other merch store. Like Paul's wearing that one right there. That's not on the merch store. Not going to be. That's on Pro Wrestling Tees. But our merch store, it's got a really weird URL. So the easiest way to go to it is go on our social media, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and click the link in our bio. That will take you to our store.
Yeah. And we got multiple different shirts, hoodies, zip-ups, coffee mug. Thank you.
You're welcome.
I've been saying we need KOP coffee mugs since day one. We finally got them.
And this is just a start. There will be more added to it as time goes on. So it's a work in progress. But we have a lot of different styles of two different designs. So
Yep. The KOP design that you see at the top of the screen if you're watching, and then as you look at any of our social, it says Kicking Out Podcast established 2021. That's one of the other designs.
Yep, and there'll be some more coming. I mean, we'll get creative and fun with it. There's more products on there we'll get out, but we just wanted to give everybody more of a choice of things outside of just a t-shirt, because on Pro Wrestling Tees, unfortunately, we could just design short sleeve t-shirts, and we were kind of handcuffed at what we could do. But like I said, the Christmas design, the orange and black KOP, the black and white one that Paul's wearing right now, a few of those designs that are on Pro Wrestling Tees you won't be able to get on our store.
Yep. So. There's a white and black version of this one, and then there's a gray and black version.
Yep.
Only available on Pro Wrestling Tees.
Yep. So both stores are linked on the links in our bio. So basically what we're saying is make sure to give us a follow on all of our social media platforms.
At Kicking Out Pod.
Yep.
You took it right from me there. Jeez. Is this a spoiler alert for next week?
Hey, I'm trying to throw the champ off a little bit. I'm getting him out of his rhythm.
Yeah, you are. I've been out of my rhythm all day. So, we're good. But be sure to follow Kicking Out Podcast on all social media platforms. Like we just said, at Kicking Out Pod. Be sure to like us wherever you listen to your podcasts. And if that happens to be Apple, give us a 5-star rating. Tell them why we're so good. We would greatly appreciate it. We're going to move up the rankings. We're going to become the #1 AEW podcast out there by the end of 2025. See, I gave us some time.
I like that. I was going to say, I was ready for 2022. I was going to say, that's the lofty goals there, but 2025, that gives us some breathing room.
3 more years. We're good. We can do this in 3 years. Follow Tanner Lee on social media at TannerLee92. Follow the best KOP predictions champion in history at Paul Zartman 921. If you could point in the right direction there, I'll do it for you.
Yep, thank you. It's a lot easier. It's on your lower third there.
You're over there. I'm right here. There you go. Look at that. Be sure to follow us on all social medias. And, of course, join us again next week as we kick out yet another podcast as I retain.
As we crowned and new.
And still.
Have a great week, everybody.
See ya.